Hello and welcome to HR Voices, brought to you by BW People. HR Voices brings you the most insightful conversations with the national and international HR leaders and innovators in HR solutions. Before I introduce our guest for today's episode, here's a request to follow our LinkedIn page, bwpeople.in, and be a part of this fastest growing HR community in India. Our guest for today is Ms. Deepti Verma. Deepti is the Vice President, People Experience and Technology, Emerging Markets at Amazon. With over 13 years at Amazon, Deepti has led HR across India, APAC, and Latin America, becoming the first woman VP outside the US in her domain. She is a strong advocate for diversity, equity, and inclusion and has championed several initiatives to empower women and underrepresented communities. Before Amazon, Deepti worked with Dr. Reddy's, NIIT, and many other large companies. Welcome on our show, Deepti. It's lovely to have you with us today.
Thank you. The privilege is all mine, and really happy to be here and interacting with you today.
Great. The topic that we are discussing today is simplifying human experience in the age of AI. We are all living in this world. AI and technology is the buzzword. AI and technology is touching our lives in every possible way. What do you think simplicity is? What does simplicity mean to you, not just in systems, but in how you lead, communicate, and support people?
Wonderful question, and I think in today's life, simplicity is one of the most important virtue anyone can have. And for me, if you ask me, simplicity is actually leading with clarity, communicating with intent, and communicating from your heart, and actually supporting people with lot of passion and intention. If you do that, you are simplifying not just for the people around you, you're actually working to make life simple in general for everyone. At Amazon, invent and simplify is one of the leadership principles, and we really feel it is important that we actually work backwards from the customer, experience and simplify the experience in order for us to really, have customer obsession in everything that we do.
Fantastic. What do you think is the relationship between technology and the human experience when the AI is evolving? And why does simplicity matter more than ever now? Why is it so important now?
See, I'll give you an example that a lot of time we use technology to kind of enable things. And I think one of the mindset change that has happened for me over time is that in today's world, technology is not something that, you should use to kind of just improve or automate a process. Technology is something that you should use actually to facilitate a change. And when you go with that mindset that I'm using technology not to, just automate this process, I'm using technology to facilitate a situation that can be simplified for an individual or a customer or a stakeholder, then the mindset is very different. And then you're looking at experience to be the heart of the thing that you're trying to do. So I have learned a lot in this journey, I'll be very honest, because very when we started using technology, it was always, oh, this is a part of the puzzle, let's just automate this. But slowly and gradually, we said that it is not about automating one process, it is about how do we make life simple for people around us? How do we facilitate them to make them feel comfortable with what they do?
Absolutely. It is about facilitating, it is making life simpler and easier, if I may say. But how do you think, how do we balance the desire to innovate with the need to keep the systems genuinely usable and intuitive for people? How do we do that?
Innovation can be in two ways. Innovation is one that you are trying to do something which is very different from what people have thought about, or innovation can be something which is like a thing which is you're improving upon something which is very already existing. And for me, I feel when you're trying to innovate something, you should look at the customer need and work backwards from there. anyone can innovate for the sake of innovating. But when I joined Amazon very early on, at that time, one of my leaders taught me this, that whenever you're innovating, you should think about an empty chair in a room, which is the chair of the customer. And you should actually work backwards from that, so that you are not just innovating or adding something for the sake of adding, but you're trying to innovate because you're making life simple for the customer. Just asking you, do you shop at Amazon?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, and no one must have taught you as to how do you shop at Amazon. Because the website was simple, scalable, intuitive, it was an innovation that we did looking at the customer's need, looking at the customer behavior and working backwards. In fact, very recently, few years back, Amazon actually introduced something called as Rufus, which is on the Amazon website, which is an AI generated chatbot, which actually helps you to kind of shop at Amazon. It tells you what size would fit, what kind of a thing you're looking for. In fact, I've heard people can also kind of look at some dress that they are wanting to find, upload a picture, and the Rufus will like actually assist you in saying this is the product that you're looking for. So all these are experiences that have been possible because, or these innovations have been possible because we had the customer at the helm, and we were working backward from their needs.
Fantastic. We spoke about the experiences of the customers. I want to focus now on the internal customers, our employees within the organization. What are some of the ways in which HR leaders can use AI to simplify the complex systems within the organizations? How they can simplify the interactions? And please tell us some examples that you have implemented to improve the employee experiences at Amazon.
Absolutely. I think the first and the foremost thing that, the HR professional needs to do is that they need to have systems that are scalable, that are
Yeah.
intuitive, and that are inclusive. Because a lot of times we create systems which may not be inclusive for all people, So I think that's very important. Giving you just an example, that in Japan, we had this Japan team was having this issue that whenever there was something coming in English, they were supposed to use a translator or a person who could translate that into a local language. They actually came up with a AI generated tool that could actually translate into 129 languages with just a click. Now, it helped us to be very inclusive because language is no longer a barrier, and you could get every employee to feel included, part of the big ecosystem. Another example is the time when we had COVID and we had not many managers coming to office. We wanted to use Alexa to onboard people, to help them to understand about the Amazon culture, help them with the joining formalities, and just make them feel included, where someone is talking to them and helping them navigate the complexity of joining a new organization. Uh, Very few years back, we also had a tool called Connections that, instead of someone trying to do a pulse survey and trying to give the feedback about what are the things that we should focus on, Connections was a tool that actually looked at data and helped the leader to make decisions. And it's a tool where a question pops up on on your laptop every day, which checks the pulse of the organization that you are working in, and tells the leader that these are the things that you should focus on in order for you to have a more engaged workforce. I have so many examples, like including, we like most organization, we also have chatbots that we use where lower level queries can be answered by chatbots, so that the HR people are focused on more sophisticated things that they need to work upon. But uh, personally, I will tell you that if you ask me as an HR professional, one of the things which was an aha moment for me was last year. We have an internal tool called Cedric, which is like a AI tool that we all use for a lot of things. And I use Cedric to write feedback for people. Now at Amazon, we have a performance appraisal system in which you're required to give feedback to a lot of people. And every year I used to spend days and days of writing feedback for each of the person. And this year, what I did was I actually used, while I was walking in the evening trying to do my walks, I used the phone to actually record the feedback. And Cedric actually improved the English and gave me the feedback that I should write. So the work that I was supposed to do in 10 days got reduced to like a half a day work. And I was able to do a meaningful way in giving feedback to like 66, 70 odd people that I had to. So I felt that life has become simple, and I've been able to bring down a lot of cognitive load for myself. And I think whenever an HR professional is trying to use AI to automate things, they should always try to look at what is it that we can do in order to, kind of scale things in order to really facilitate the employee life cycle in a more meaningful way.
Fantastic. Those were lovely initiatives that you have told us. I'm sure there are organizations who are doing much more than before, and these are fantastic examples that you shared. HR professionals, they should also ensure that, like you mentioned before, that they should ensure clarity, accessibility, and empathy. Empathy is also extremely important nowadays with well-being and, the requirement, the
Absolutely.
mental and physical requirement of employees. How can HR professional incorporate these principles into the people strategy while using the AI and technology?
Yeah. I think for me, empathy is the a part where it is part and parcel of what you do. So it is not that just because you have technology you should think about marrying technology and then creating empathy. In fact, one of the leadership principles at Amazon is leading with empathy. It is very important for us, kind of a thing. I'll give you a personal example before I go on
Yeah, yeah.
to the thing that when I was, few days back I was unwell and I was not feeling quite great, and I talked to a few of my friends and I said I'm not feeling too great, and they said, oh, it's okay, don't worry, it must be just you're tired and so on and so forth. I talked to the second person, they said, oh, all of us feel like this, don't worry. And I was just feeling that most of the people weren't taking me seriously. And I wrote to one of the AI systems and I said, these are my symptoms. What should I do? And it actually prompted me with few other questions that they asked me and said, you should get these tests done. And I took that and I called up my doctor friend and I said, this is what AI has said. And she says, you could have called me. But the fact that someone prompted me to think differently was the thing. And I felt that AI was, of course, I was talking to a bot, but AI was very empathetic with me to, speak to me in a way that made me feel good. And I got those tests done and I felt better. But it made me think a lot of time people are so busy, everybody is so busy. Here, an AI bot helped me to feel better. Lot of times AI can also train you in how you are trying to think through some of these things and trying to, kind of improve the communication that you have with the people around you. uh, so I felt that empathy is something that if that is already a value that you have in your organization, if you are already the culture is about leading with empathy, then AI can actually help you to kind of enhance that.
Yes.
But if that is not already a culture, then it becomes very difficult for you to kind of justify what you are trying to do. So I feel before you write a strategy, you have to think about, is empathy a very important thing? And for Amazon, yes, it is. And if that is so, you will find ways in which you can actually leverage AI to facilitate empathy in all the processes that you are trying to do. Um, I'll give you yet another example. During our appraisal system here is called Forte, and Forte, a lot of people give feedback to each other because we believe that 360-degree feedback is important, kind of a thing. Now it was very difficult for us to kind of look through the feedback, and there are multiple feedback that comes in. If we have to actually work on a plan for a person as to what should the person focus on, how should you do it? So we actually used all this feedback, put it in the system. It actually gave a very nice plan that you could actually sit and discuss with person. So the time that you were using in kind of just making the plan, that time you're using to have a real conversation with the person by using AI. Like AI made your job simpler, so you had more time and you were listening attentively and you were having that conversation. So I would encourage all the HR professionals who are wanting to design their strategy. You should have people at the heart and lead with empathy, and the strategy will be awesome.
Fantastic. You spoke about empathy and you also told us how important empathy is while having the people strategy. I want to speak about the generations which are working in the organizations nowadays. There are multiple generations. There is Gen Z, Millennial, Gen X, Boomers, all are working at the same time in one organization. How does technology make the process is simpler and intuitive for these varied age groups, the demographies? How do you do that in an organization with so much of variation?
Yeah. See, firstly, I just feel it is not just the people with various age group. You have to have uh, AI and technology be inclusive across all diverse groups. Giving you an example, just last week I was attending a session which was Global Accessibility Month for us, and there was this lady who was a blind lady who was actually wearing glasses, which was AI powered glasses. So that AI powered glasses were giving her an experience of what's happening around, and it was talking to
Oh,
her and speaking to her, and it was so nice to see her do that. I've had people who have actually have voice AI led voice kind of a thing, which is helping them to navigate in the organization. So I have quite a lot of those examples that I could talk about, but just to answer some of the questions that you are asking, is that today's generation, if you look at the population who are working, the workforce today, is coming with varied kind of backgrounds. There are people who might have cognitive issues, there are people who might have physical disability, there are people who might be a slow learner. So when you're looking at different age groups, I think the way the technology is being leveraged is that it is helping people feel included irrespective of what background they are coming from. And I'll be honest, at Amazon, we have quite a lot of docs that a person needs to read, because we don't believe in a PowerPoint. We always have this doc culture. And I saw that there were people from different age groups who were not very comfortable in reading. They were actually using AI to kind of someone reading out to them and
yes.
helping and bringing down that cognitive load. So there are many experiments that are being going on, and I feel that will revolutionize the way that we are actually responding to a very diverse workforce. It'll help the diverse workforce feel more included and more valued, and they feel that they have been heard. So that's what I can simply say.
So from that answer, that was fantastic answer, by the way. From that answer itself, I want to understand from you whether the technology will replace the people interaction and people involvement in the workplace, or it will enhance the roles, and there are many more new roles which will come out. What do you think?
For sure, that the way the workforce is today, it's going to change very drastically to what it is going to be tomorrow. We are actually in an era where the change would be much faster as compared to what we would have anticipated. And the jobs, the roles that we do will evolve a lot, because a lot of people would like to simplify lives, and they would like to simplify the work and bring down the cognitive load, and use that time to focus on things which are more important as compared to doing busy work. So of course, there are two parts to your question: will we reduce workforce, and will the workforce change? Yes, the workforce will change. Will the workforce reduce is something it's very difficult for me to predict right now. I'm say even if I give you an answer, it would be an hypothetical answer because I don't know the world that is going to be there tomorrow. But I'm for sure that the way that we are going to, kind of have the workforce of tomorrow, it certainly would be very different from the way that we are today. And I also feel that the roles will become more sophisticated. Jobs, different kind of jobs would be there. Imagine today if you have a workforce which is like you're managing hundreds of people. Tomorrow you might be managing AI, agents as well as employees. So would the job change? Yes, it would.
Yeah, I think the same way too. Now, this is a personal question, and I want to understand from you as a leader of a very, large organization's HR and experience. What is that something that you have unlearned and rethought about technology in the last couple of years? How it has impacted you?
Something that I spoke about initially also, I'm going to repeat that initially I used to think technology is to automate a process, automate a piece of a small puzzle that we need, or a process kind of a thing. But my mindset has changed, and I feel technology is not about automating. Technology is about facilitating a big change. It is about, facilitating a different way of life. So if you just think about this is the this is the piece of the puzzle and I'm automating a process, then you are not thinking big. You're not really leveraging technology to the fullest. But if you're saying, I'm going to work backwards from the experience that I want to create, and I'm
Yeah.
going to facilitate that using technology, then the mindset is very different. And then you're not just automating a process, you are trying to think through holistically about what I should do in order to enhance the experience. Um, I, I- I'll give you a very personal example. This was shared with us, sometime back. What had happened was that when we had launched Alexa, there was a person who was staying alone in US who had a paralytic attack,
Oh,
and that person did not have anyone around them, but that person actually had Alexa there, and he called Alexa and he said, I'm not able to use my hand and leg. Can you call 911 and tell I have an emergency? And Alexa actually called 911, and there was help, and he was able to be immediately taken care of and all. Now, if we would have thought about, okay, I need to automate one small process, we would have never been able to create that experience. But because it was important for us to think about the experience, that there would be people who may not be able to use hands, we should have a way in which people are able to just speak to Alexa and get the experience. Because that was the focus area, we were able to create the right experience. So I just feel that instead of focusing on one part of the puzzle, if you focus on experience, you will be able to learn a lot more. And I have been able to personally learn a lot more in the last few years when I changed my mindset.
great. That's good to know. One last question, although we have a lot of questions, but we are short of time. What is the one shift that you hope to see in the organization when you talk about design experiences, customer experiences, people experiences? What changes you expect to see or you hope to see in the next 3 to 5 years?
I think the first and the foremost thing that I would expect to see is that whatever we make, whatever we do, should be intuitive. It should not be something that people need to be taught what to do. It should be frustration free, that people don't need to go through, navigate through multiple systems in order to understand what they need to do. Like, a few years back, I had to read through a lot of manuals to work on
Yeah,
anything. And today, it's so simple kind of a thing. As you rightly pointed out, initially it has to be simple. And last but not the least, it has to be scalable, that everybody can kind of use it. That is the shift that I'm thinking that we all should be. But more than that, I think one of the biggest things that I have learned is being very open to changing. A lot of times we kind of are in this bubble which we say, okay, this part of thing won't change, only this part would change. But I feel we are at an era where things would change much faster as compared to what we have imagined. So we should be like open to change, and we should be actually pioneering that change. And if we are able to do that, I think it'll be not only good for the organization but good for you as an individual too.
Fantastic, Deepthi. I am so thankful to you. Lovely insights today we have got from you. Technology and AI need to be intuitive, simple, and scalable, and we all need to be, open to change. Thank you so much for your insights today and your time.
Thank you. Really nice talking to you, Bilkis. And I've been hearing a lot about the interviews that you're doing. I learn a lot from you too. Great.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.